Uh,
Okay, hello as well.
Hi guys. So finally we're live. Our solutions architect Usman is here as well. He will be screen sharing and showing you guys how you can clone the repo and more importantly how you can switch the LLM from to any open source LLM. We advise small language models more than the large ones, especially within the open source space. Primarily because your accuracy and your response rates will be much better with SLMs instead of LLMs. So do keep that in mind. Until Usman, you're ready to screen share, just let me know.
Hi everyone. Yes, Ahad, I'm ready.
Okay, great. So you can screen share. Until you're screen sharing, maybe perhaps I can answer a couple of questions that we have in the chat.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And guys, if there's anyone in the team who wants to like come up to the stage and like talk from your end, just let us know and we'll give them the permission.
Correct. So the live demo is going to be given here for sure, but I'm pretty sure you guys are going to have questions after it as well, and probably more questions than before. So don't worry. After the live demo session is done, we're going to stick here for a bit and answer as many questions as possible. Before that, if you wanna, there's a question here, just to give a brief example of the Agile Loop product, which is being used in any industry. So the Synapse repository is just one of the open source repos that we've exposed in this hackathon. It's not only Agile Loop's product. Agile Loop itself is focused more on foundation models that can generate action sequences, and that is something completely. It's I would say a next step towards what Synapse is. So Synapse is probably the first basic prerequisite that you guys have to learn how to clone it and then understand how it's giving an agentic nature. Where is it getting its agentic abilities? That's way more important to understand. And most likely, our actual product, which is more on the vision and action model side of things, you guys will be able to use them through the developer platform, which will be also exposed right after this hackathon. And it's not part of the hackathon, but you guys can still, request for APIs and see how action generation happens in an action model. This, however, is more specific to tasks, right? So when we talk about action agents, there's two things that are most important. One is the ability to break down a prompt or query into step by step steps, action steps, essentially, right? The Synapse repo is focusing more on the ability to decompose tasks into smaller subtasks, right? So this is why we're focusing on Synapse, because that's where that's how you can get the agentic features in the model. And then second step would be actions, which we will expose after the hackathon. So I don't want to keep Hafiz Usman here for too long. He's going to start the live demo, and I'm going to be speaking alongside. So will be Usman. So Usman, let's carry on, and then we can
Yeah.
save the questions for later.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Ahad, for giving me mic. Yeah. So first thing, like when you guys are reading the README file, so here we have the step one installation guide. Like we are just here to clone this repo. Go to our project directory. So this will be a very easy step to clone any repo. Like we have other like software like GitHub Desktop. So we are easily clone any repo using the clone here, and we use the Synapse Copilot. So I already have this repo, so that's why it's giving me sorry. So that's why it's giving me a message. So if I want to again clone this, then I will be clone in a different directory. So we are cloning the repo. So we have a two way to clone the repo. First thing, first from the GitHub desktop and other one from the terminal. So similarly from the terminal, we will just copy this command and then after that we will
I think maybe Usman, you might be breaking up. Um, yeah, can you just recheck your connection? You might be breaking up.
okay. So it's good now, or like I need to be, if not then I will change my Wi-Fi connection. I'm audible good, so please
Yeah, you still need to check your
give me
connection, I think.
some hands. Okay.
Yeah, just give us 5 minutes, guys. I think Hafizman, just recheck your connection, please.
Okay. So yes, now it's better.
But much better. Yep.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. So after installing the requirement.txt file, we are going to over next step. So this is step one, very easy. Like this is like very easy to clone the GitHub repo. Like similarly, we will be used in other projects. And this is the install the dependencies. After that, we are going to grab our API collection. So right now we are using here the Postman. So all of you know that the Postman, like how the Postman is working. So when we have any Postman collection, so we are easily import collection using our Postman. Let me show you. So for example, here we have our repo. So when we are going here the export section, then we are able to get the JSON file. So it's a JSON file. After that JSON file, we will be follow our mentioned steps that we have here. So it's a node script that we are listed in mentioned directory, that is API collection. So what that directory is doing, first of all, we have to install Node.js in our laptop, and after that we will be go to the project directory, and then we will run this command. Let me show you the demo here. So so I need to be copy and paste and run this command. So it will be install the Postman to open API package globally in my laptop. So why this step is important? Because we are using the specification files. The specification files we are able to find from internet, and but the tested versions, because we will be get from our Postman, because in the Postman it's really easy to test each and every API. If we got the spec file from any online sources, so we need to be validate first, like the specification file is in a working form or not. So after that, when we get this Postman collection, so we will be move our JSON file to our input directory. Like this is Agile Loop platform Postman collection. So after that we have the uh, we have this command. So we will like this is p2o, and after that this is our input file, and this input file, and we have the output file directory, source url, and this is our options, our settings. So when you run this command, it will automatically create the yml file. So you see that it's create the yml file. So when we have this yml file, so let me open that file. We need a JSON file in our project. So we will convert our YML file to a JSON format. Like we mentioned link here in a step two. You just open that link, convert YML to JSON, and we will copy that JSON file, like whatever the project is, whatever the scenario is. Like it's if this is a Trello API source, API collections, then we will be save this file with the Trello.json file. So after the step two, we will moving to the step three. This is some more technical. So if you guys have any question in step one and step two, please uh, give us a voice. So then we will be answer, and after that we will move to
Yeah.
the
So after you can continue with
okay.
the live demo, and I am answering questions on the chat side by side. So
Thank you.
while Hafizman is
Okay.
showing, guys, you will have the recorded session anyway. But if there's any question you want to ask right now in the chat, I am there and answering questions. So please do ask in the chat. Hafizman, you may
Thank you.
continue.
Thank you. Okay, so in step three, like we need to be at the scenario. Let me show you. Our main file is run.py file. So how the scenario is going on? We will take the example of Trello. So whenever we have a new scenario mean like any type of app integration we have. So you just need to be add new else if like we have integration few apps, Trello, Jira. So we are segregating the apps with their scenario names. So this is the Jira, and similarly we have here Trello. So we are using our credentials. We are controlling the credentials from our databases. So here we set the database query where we are getting some sources like what's our Trello credentials, and we are storing those credentials in key and token. Uh, you guys know that when we are integrating the Trello, so Trello API work with the API key and API token. So we need to be make our account first on Trello, and then we will get our key and token from Trello, and then we will be placed in our database like this. Let me show you my database. So in my database, like we are placed API key and API token. So what will happen? Our project is completely dynamic. So that's why we place our tokens and API keys in database. So if we are going in a SaaS based environment, then that thing is really payback us in that kind of environment. After that, this is the dictionary, and here we have some more technical things start. uh, let if we just go back like in step two, we get our specification file, and that specification file we have to list in our specs folder. Like we placed here Trello Trello underscore OAS file. So whatever name, like we are following this this schema. So if you have some more good ideology, then you will be suggest us like what will be how we will improve the directory structure. So uh, after placing that file in our specs folder, so we have here replace API credential in JSON. So when we go to that method, so it's our helper functions where we have specs, and here is our scenario underscore base.json file. So we put the JSON file in our database, and in our directory, and after that we are reading that file and we are getting the content from that JSON file, and we are uh, we are storing that information here, and after that we are using process specification file here, where we mention the file path and token and key from our OS environments. So this is a Drupal function. When we are going to process spec file here, so here we mention again, if Trello in file path, then you are getting the API, you are getting the key and token from the parameters. You guys know that like we have when we are integrating the API, so some APIs have the validation in params, and some API have validations in headers like this. We are doing we did for the Salesforce, where we have the authorization and barrier token that in header. So if you are integrating any app that have uh, that have token in headers, so we have some examples here in our helper.py file, so you can see and you can get the idea for whatever integration you are doing. So similarly, we are getting the API spec and headers from that method, and after that we are replacing API credentials. So here is our API selector, and scenario name is a Trilio. It's totally dynamic, like when we are going into that method. So here we are getting ICL examples plus model. What is model is API selector. It's a pattern that we have for our directory structure, and model is API selector, and scenario is Trello, and Trello underscore base.txt. So basically, these are ICL examples. What are ICL examples? ICL example is the prompt engineering that we did for every API. Like for the Trello, like we have these examples. We give some real examples with the API path. Like user query, create a new board named project A. So what API call should look alike, and what API response we are expecting. So similarly, we have example 2, example 3. So these prompts are very important for us. So if you guys have any misunderstanding in the directory structure, so we are here to explain more. So after that, like we are replacing our keys and tokens in our specification file. What happened when we are uh, getting our JSON file from Postman? So we have the key and token parameters, because when we set our environment, like here we have some variables. So we mentions the tokens here in our as a variables, and we are using the tokens in all the headers as a variable. So here we are replacing here we are replacing those variables. Let me show you. Yeah, here. So here we are replacing those key and tokens, because in our postman we are using tokens and key parameters, and when we are getting the value from database, so it live changing in our Trello underscore oas.json file. So similarly, we have two kind of prompt. One is like the base prompts, and the other is the we have simple prompts. Like, let me show you the planner prompts. Like, these two are some different prompts. So one for the API selector and one for the planner. API selector, like how you select the APIs, and the selector, the planner is like how you will plan when you are getting the query. So what will be the agent thought on in our planner part. So both prompts are very important, because we are we make these prompts like a template. I will show you in our planner and in our selector files. These prompts are passed like parameters. So these things are very essential. So we will be follow that pattern. That will be easy to scale this project. Okay. So we are now back in our run.py file. Similarly, what we did for API selector, we need to be did for the planner. And after that, we have a query example. Uh, Query example, like we just set a initial query, like create a new board with name ABC. So if we are not get any query from our user, so we suppose like we have a pre-defined query here. So it will be automatically passed to to our agent. So I'm going to the next part. So here is a query. We are getting the query from input method, and we are passing that query. If query is equal to none, then our query is like a query example that we defined earlier. So we have here our LangChain agent, API LLM dot run. So when we are querying, when we tracing this variable, so you can see that here we have the LLM. We are using OpenAI right now. So we mentioned earlier, like we are like you guys also have the task to change this OpenAI LLM to any open source LLMs and open source LLM providers like Olama and Hugging Face. So that app will be more scalable, because right now we are using too many requests in OpenAI calls. So you guys add here your LLMs here, and here the path over API specs and scenarios. So when you guys go to the API LLM file, so this is our agent. Here we have our agent. So whenever you are going to add a new scenario, so you need to be add else condition in run.py file, and you will add the same scenario name here in our scenario list in API LLM. So this is our agent, LangChain agent. And when we are going back, so this is old LangChain methodology that we used with run. So like now we have a latest LangChain that work with Invoke, and there's a lot of stuff we will do with the streaming and the others. So lot of ideas here with the LangChain. So the scalability is easy because we are using the LangChain agents. So you just use those agents, and that will be really helpful for you guys, like how you will be control the application. So for your more better understanding, like we ready some steps here, like the precautions and the code. So you will be we are sharing these steps here in our Discord channel, and you will be follow those things, like, and you have the session, and you also have these steps. And after that, like if you have more queries, then you will just drop your messages, and me and Ahad here to answer your queries here. So yeah, yes,
So,
Ahad, done for.
Hafizman, do you have? I'm gonna say out a few questions. So, number one, what is the difference in purpose of examples ending with underscore base dot txt and the ones with only dot txt? Like, Trello underscore base dot txt and Trello dot txt. So can you tell them the difference in the Trello
Yeah,
example
sure, sure,
between
sure,
Trello
sure.
underscore base dot txt and then Trello dot txt? So why do
Sure.
some services not have
So,
the underscore base?
sure. Uh, we have in our model folders folder we have a planner.py file. How that file work? We have some basic and generic prompt engineering here, and after that, like we mentioned here, the ICL examples here. And in our ICL examples, we have two folders, like one with the API selector and one with the planner. The API selector, we are just differentiate both of the files with the .txt and .base file. So only this is the matter, and we are not I guess this file is confusing. So we are not using underscore base file here. We are using txt file here. I am raising that file from repo. So this will be not confuse you more. So this is actually the old phase.
So to clarify, you
Yeah,
guys
yeah.
only need to use the .txt ones, not
.txt
underscore
file. Yes.
.txt.
Yes.
Correct. Okay. And another question by Gold Zulu was I saw some search connects in Google Sheets. Is there a way to combine them integrated into the new scenarios we are creating? So I think that is more of a question, Gold Zulu, on like the hackathon and your innovation. So can you come up with a way to combine all of them together? This is something that you guys are gonna have to come up with. But I think this is a very, very detailed question. If you do still need help, just maybe come up with an idea and you can get it vetted by us. So if you come up with a way to combine them, feel free to schedule a mentor session. You guys already have the links, and this is why we actually, ask you guys to schedule sessions. And part of the reason it should be like if any of you come up with an idea, let's say Gold Zulu came up with an idea to combine the integrations into the new scenarios you're creating. So if you want to verify and validate that idea, you can schedule a mentorship session and then we will validate it for you on that call. But there are certain questions here that are more relevant to how your ideation works throughout the hackathon. So we're only gonna help. Obviously, the rest is all on your ideas. So I guess that should clarify. And second question, let me see if there's any other questions. So there is an issue some people are facing with index out of range error, Hafiz Usman. Can this usually happens when you're while dealing on the LLM side. So can you maybe guide on how they could deal with index out of range type of errors?
Yeah, actually, if you guys just share your error, complete error here, so we can answer you like you are getting the error on which file. So on the behalf of that, we will be fix it, or we will be help you like why this error is happening. So we need a
Yeah, guys.
complete.
So for any debugging, obviously debugging is part of the hackathon, but if you guys just want to share the whole um, error with us, just share it across. You can share it across as a private DM to me or to Usman, and we will be helping you guys as much as we can without obviously breaching any hackathon policies. So just share your errors across, and hopefully we should be able to help. All right. So is Gemini considered as an open source LLM or no? Well, you know, I guess what do you consider as an open source LLM? Uh, Sometimes I think training weights are a very important aspect, right? Can you change Gemini's training weights? Can you change, those things? I don't think you can. So Gemini is not really considered as an open source LLM. But if you want to use Gemini, go ahead. There's no restriction whether you should use an open source LLM or not. But open source LLMs are going to get more weightage because it's much more difficult to, you know, it's a much bigger challenge to get the planning right with open source LLMs as compared to Gemini or GPT, right? So um, it definitely, if someone's able to integrate an open source LLM instead of Gemini and their response accuracy is good, so they will get more points as compared to other contestants who are using Gemini and GPT. So this is, there's no restriction as per se, but it is advised that you use an open source LLM. And in terms of Bamba, I believe there's a you're looking for a detailed response, and you want me to tell you what I think about it. So I'll send in a response to you on your DM. Just please throw this message to my DM as well, so I can answer them one by one, whichever are detailed, and whichever questions are just more on our feedback. Just please DM them to me. And do we expect a GUI interface? Um, GUI is not a priority, but it is definitely, like Usman said, it is not a priority, but it is definitely it's a plus point. So of course, if you have a very nice UI UX, it's an interface attached to the agent, that makes your entire submission look better, right? So presentation, it's not just about presenting the last, making a few slides. Marks on or points on presentation can also include you coming up with a nice GUI interface. So
Yes.
so yeah, it's not compulsory, but it's definitely going
Actually,
to get
you
you
also
more
need
points. Yeah, please,
you also need
Usman,
an
go ahead.
API to. Yeah, yeah. For GUI, you actually also need the APIs that will be communicate to your front end. So if you are going for GUI stuff, so yes, you are make some APIs, then you will be use the front end like React and Vue, any other.
Yep, sounds good. And as per your question, Shashi, I think can we show the API call and API response and actual creation of board on Trello through screen sharing? So we can send you a video if you want, because we're a bit over time. So you've already DM'd me, and we can share across how the actual response looks like of the models for Trello. So Usman, if you can kindly share across, our one or two queries being uh, passed on, that would be helpful on Trello, since we've already set up Trello. So we'll definitely share that across, and we'll share the video on Discord for everyone. AI Alchemist, so don't worry. Um, so Gulzar, you're in London. What is the best time for one-on-one? There's no specific best time, but we're also in London, except for Usman. Usman is in Pakistan. Half of Agile Loop is a London-based company, so London timings are perfect. Whatever time you want to schedule, just feel free. And once you schedule it, uh, we'll confirm the time. If it's a clashing time, we will probably just reschedule. Can we do one-on-one in person? Yeah, for sure, man. We can come up with a mutual time and perhaps meet in person too. Or you can just visit our office one day, and we can have you in the office too. Should the UI we are making be based on web application or a desktop application? Well, of course, that's entirely up to you. Um, I presume that the web app will be easier than the desktop app, so it's entirely up to you. You don't have to make it a desktop application. Whatever is easier for you. All right. Um, I believe we have just a minute or two left. So, Theodorus, if we can kind of wrap it up, and any other questions, we're still going to be answering questions throughout, guys, so don't worry about it. This hackathon is not like other hackathons. You have an ample amount of time. And the reason why you have ample amount of time is because, of course, there's a lot of things to do. So, ask questions at any time. We will be here to answer them. And yes, we would be sharing a recorded session too. Also, we do have a few. I'm also thinking to record a few sessions besides this session that we just had, just to get so that you guys have more and more information and context. So just wait until tomorrow, and you guys should have a couple of recorded videos, including the one that
Yes.
shows the prompts being passed on.
Yeah, the complete
Uh,
working example with the
yeah.
Trello and the, like, we will show you.
Hafizman, there's a question. For making new scenarios, we have to make our own .txt file, right? So can you kind of explain how you make a new scenario?
Yes. As I show them, like, I listed the steps here. So yeah, for new scenario, how they will add the new scenario here. So
Amazing. That's great. So, uh, Shashi, I think you got your answer here. If you need more help, again, just DM.
yes.
All right, sounds good, Theodore. So we're above time. We will be taking more sessions privately as well. Like just guys, just DM me as much as you can. I just realized I haven't gotten enough DMs. So guys, do make sure you DM me as much as you can, and I will be answering there. All right, sounds good. Thank you, guys. It was a pleasure, and looking forward.
Yeah, the pleasure is all ours. Uh, I don't know what Lambda's Bamba said. Okay. Yeah, thank you very much. It was actually a pleasure.